Hey guys, what's up? Hope that this video finds you well on your Friday morning. It's gonna be super short one, super simple. Not gonna go into the history of the next empire, which is Greece. I'll probably get to that next week. Just wanted to hit something else a little bit differently. Still in Daniel. Just kind of a brain teaser to think about for you guys to think about during your day. So in our young adults ministry this last week, I was actually teaching on Daniel, going through that because that's where I've been camping out in my own personal studies for a good while now, that and Revelation. And we were discussing the dynamic between Daniel and King Nebuchadnezzar. And I kind of took them through the first few chapters of Daniel in a different way. You know, when people usually read the book of Daniel, it's usually from the lens, from the perspective that Daniel is essentially the main character, right? Like the book is about Daniel, it's about his life. But we kind of did this thing where we kind of flipped it a little bit to get a different view on I guess the behind the scenes stuff that God was working throughout the lifetime of Daniel and Nebuchadnezzar. And so we kind of took the book of Daniel head on from the perspective as if King Nebuchadnezzar was actually the main focus and that Daniel was more of a support character, if you would. And looking at it that way, looking at the story of Daniel through the eyes of King Nebuchadnezzar, and that Daniel is just this support, essentially this support character that God purposely put in Nebuchadnezzar's life to reach Nebuchadnezzar for God's sake, because God wanted him. And it was pretty cool to see. So you have this guy, King Nebuchadnezzar, super crazy evil dude to begin with. Did some really bad stuff to a lot of people, abused his power because he could. And then you have this young 17-year-old kid, Daniel, that comes on the scene, and he's just another victim of King Nebuchadnezzar, right? And Daniel loses everything to this guy. And yet he is also then put into the employment of King Nebuchadnezzar, right? So Daniel is essentially forced into this forceful employment, this exile under this dude that just demolished his entire life. And looking at it through the eyes of King Nebuchadnezzar, you got this really sinful, evil dude that's just doing whatever he wants. And it kind of got us thinking as a group, like, how many of us in our lives have these people that were, whether it's a mean boss that you work for, or if it's just somebody in general in your life that has like a sense of authority over you in some way or another, or just a person in general that just kind of feels like it's their right to domineer over you and just to be a full-on bully and jerk, however you want to say it. But as you look through the life of Daniel and his interactions with King Nebuchadnezzar, it's weird to see that Daniel still has, at least on some level, shows respect for King Nebuchadnezzar, okay? But not only that, he still willingly works for Nebuchadnezzar in a way that also stands up for his faith and stands up for himself. And over the course of many decades, King Nebuchadnezzar gets this frontline view of who Daniel is as a person and his quality of character, okay? And it kind of got us questioning about that, like, who has God put in your life that is on some level a full-on terror to you, and you just, this person just ruined your life, or continually ruins your life and just makes your life a living hell, essentially. what if God is purposely putting these people in your life so that you can be the steadfast, I will not move from my faith, I will not let you walk all over me, I will stand up for my faith type of person, but also do it in a loving and respectful way, that maybe years down this road, this person that has these interactions with you for years and years and years and just sees that you will not back down for your faith, that you will not be pushed over, but you also won't do it in a jerkish way. But instead, actually what you do is you stand for your faith in a way that you are found blameless, like Daniel was. Daniel was a person that was found blameless in everything that he did. And Nebuchadnezzar saw that literally for decades. And I would imagine that was a big part of how King Nebuchadnezzar eventually in chapter, I just read it the other day, chapter 5, where King Nebuchadnezzar eventually finally breaks down and says, God, you are real, I accept you, thank you, I give praise to you. I would have to imagine that point finally came after, yes, God broke him, but because of decades of being exposed to who Daniel was, to the person and character, the faithful person and character of Daniel, in that Daniel stood for his faith no matter what, but he was also found blameless and faultless in everything that he did, including his interactions with the people that both hated him and liked him. So all of that to say, I want to challenge you guys, because this is something that challenged me too. When you're at your work, when you're at your homes, whatever, to kind of self-examine yourself on how well of an example do you actually put out there into the world. When you're at your work, do your coworkers actually see somebody that could be considered like Daniel, somebody that's actually faultless and blameless, somebody that actually keeps their cool in tough situations, somebody that actually imitates Christ? Or do they just see just another employee, worker that's no different from anybody else, even though you claim that you have this thing that should make you different? Anyways, stuff to think about. I'll end it here. Hope that you guys have a good weekend. Hope to see you all on Sunday.